Ariana, will you take roll call, please?
Board Chair Fuentes,
Santos? Sorry, I was like, man, yes.
Board Member Duhan. Board Member Ortiz. Here. Board Member Fishback.
Here.
Board Member Ramirez.
Here.
Board Member Ibarra. Valenzuela.
Here.
Board Fixer. And Board Member Ermis.
Here.
Everyone.
All right, the Parks and Recreation Board welcomes comments from citizens early in the agenda of Parks and Rec Board meetings. Those wishing to speak are encouraged to sign in before the meeting begins. Speakers may be provided with the opportunity to speak during this time on any agenda item or any other matter concerning city business, and they must observe the 3-minute time limit. So when you start to speak, I'll kind of give you a signal when you have 1 minute left, and then you'll know. So up first is Tanner Sebastian.
Yeah, that's how
All
I say
right.
my name. I've been a Kyle resident for 6 years. My background is in BMX, so I'm here for the bike park section of this meeting. I have ran 2 BMX tracks, one in San Antonio, I currently do it, and one in Pflugerville. That's for the county parks, Travis County Parks. I really think that bringing BMX and a bike park to Kyle is going to be great for our community. I've talked with Josh. I know he's been really pushing this, and if I can do anything to help, I've driven around to a lot of locations. I think the Waterleaf is a great spot for it. The first time I went over there, I went to the pool and didn't realize that there's a whole backside to that place. So I do think there's a lot of space there and could be utilized really well. Another one, I think it's Stagecoach. That is another good spot that I saw right behind the dog park. There's a lot of opening. There's parking there, and it's not in the back of a neighborhood. So it would be good for not having people drive through that neighborhood to get to the location. Steeplechase. Park, sorry. I also am partners in a bike park building business called Lee Lewis Pro Track. So I do have a lot of background in all of that stuff. So I could give a lot of input when y'all are moving forward with this project.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Fred Wilson.
That's me.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm also here for the same reason for the bike park. I wanted to speak in support of not just the BMX portion, but also the trails that are being put in, trail features that I hope we'll be able to see as well. I used to live in Dripping Springs, and I could ride from my driveway into some incredible trails that have all been built over. And when I moved to Kyle, I was cringing at the thought of not being able to ride directly from my house, having to drive somewhere to go ride my bike, because I ride after work, usually in the dark. So I was very, very enthusiastic when I heard that there was a trail that I could ride to from my house. So I've been riding on it quite a bit. I've been to a couple of the trail building days, and really looking forward to seeing what happens. Defer to the expert over there, but my experience with the BMX tracks is that they're not very friendly to mountain biking, whereas vice versa, if there's like a mountain biking pump track that you could do with BMX, all that it would be.
Yes, that's what I want to happen here, a pump track with some jumps on it as well.
Yeah. So that was my little piece I wanted to make sure. I know it's titled on the agenda as a BMX track, but I'd like to see a pump track that could be built so that it would also be amenable to mountain bike size bikes.
We definitely appreciate y'all's input on that.
Yeah, I know you already did the 3 minutes, but a BMX track is a BMX racing track. It's different than a pump track.
Okay.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're going to reports and presentations. An introduction of certified therapeutic recreation specialist Miranda Pendia.
Hi, everybody. I'm the new CTRS on staff. And CTRS does stand for Certified Therapeutic Recreation Specialist. Just a little bit about me. Before this, I was at an inpatient facility in San Antonio working with adults that have tuberculosis. I was there for about a year, and then before that, I was working for the City of Austin Parks and Rec. at Macbeth Recreation Center, and they serve individuals of all abilities, all ages. There I was a youth coordinator, so coordinating like the camps, any programming that has to do with youth and teens. So here, they brought me in to bring that adaptive inclusive programming for the city of Kyle. And so kind of kicking things off by bringing inclusive components to what's the already existing program and events. So that's what kind of I've been working on these. I think this is like my third week. So just kind of been working on those ideas with my staff. And then also working with Texas State heavily right now. Me and Amy just went to go talk to a class to create, to be a part of the comprehensive design project. And so those students will actually be designing an event and a program for the city of Kyle, specifically adaptive and inclusive. And then we're also working with Texas State to bring in students to do an accessibility study on our facilities and parks as well. And then just want to share with you guys a couple of goals I have going forward. A short-term goal that I do have is I do hope to see an adaptive and inclusive, kind of like an introduction event offered for the city of Kyle, just to kind of let community members know, like, hey, these programs are coming and this is what's going to be offered. And then just kind of a long-term goal is I hope within the next year, 2025, a one-time program offered every month. To transition to those 4-week-long programs that are offered once a week. Thank you.
Thank you. Our monthly staff report, annual report summary, projects update, and special events.
All right, so, board members, in front of you, you have our annual report. So that little booklet is just kind of a summary and highlight of the outcomes from the Parks Department this year. So of course, the two major things are the addition of our destination events manager, Claudia. So she started just over a year ago. So as soon as she got here, we kind of threw her into holiday lights and then immediately programmed the Kyle Fair, which welcomed over 10,000 people. And then her second big event was Pie in the Sky, which welcomed over 8,000 people. So those are the two big destination events. And then the other highlights in the report are from all the other divisions. So park maintenance, recreation, outdoor nature, trails, and special events, community. So that is for your reading whenever you have time. Our park projects updates. So right now, you will notice that the splash pads are still not complete, but they are in the final stages. Weather just has really delayed the process a lot. So I spoke with our splash pad company this morning, and they're about 2 weeks out. After those get built, they will train the staff. That takes a couple of days. And then the splash pads will be opening the first weekend in May. As of right now, the dates have not, or the times have not been set for the splash pads. They open the first weekend in May. So the James Atkins Pool opens Memorial Day weekend at the end of May. So splash pads will open a couple of weeks before the city pool opens.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Can you repeat that date for the opening of the?
The first weekend in May. The other projects going on right now are the park cameras at 5 parks. So those are in the final installation. Our IT department's been working with a contractor, so there'll be park cameras at Waterley Park, like Kyle Park, Steeplechase Park, Heroes Memorial Park, Mary Kyle Hartson Park, and La Verde Park. And those are, I think, halfway in. The other project getting completed within the next month before we see you guys again are the park restrooms. So we'll get the new restrooms that complement the splash pad in Clark Park and Steeplechase Park. And then like Kyle will get a new restroom set. Waterley Park will get a new restroom set. And then the last, or in between that, the Lake City Square Park downtown will get a new restroom as well. And then over the next month, before we see you, the shade structure over the inclusive playground at Lake Kyle is going to be getting ordered. We're in the final quote stages of that one. And that is it for the big projects within this next month. Like we set out that calendar at one of our previous board meetings, we're still working on all the other projects, so they're just going on to the next one. And then as far as your special events update, this Friday we have Paint and Sip. There's 5 spots left at Krug Activity Center. So the registration is still available online. And then we have February 13th, our disability dance for individuals with disabilities at Gemstone Palace. At February 13th, we have our first program at La Verde Park. We'll have a Mardi Gras celebration from 6 to 8 at La Verde Park on that day. There'll be DJ, beats, vendors, food. So just a little Mardi Gras party. And then going into March, we have our spring break camp. On March 22nd, we have family night out at La Verde. So every month, Sheba, who's our community events manager, will be coordinating a different event at La Verde Park. So those are the first two. And then Easter extravaganza, which is a big one, March 30th, and International Women's Day, March 8th. And then in between that, we're recruiting for adult kickball and adult softball leagues. That registration closes on February 25th. So as far as programs and events, that's it. We are bringing back the adult trivia nights, which started on March 25th. If you have any questions on the upcoming events, that's for the next month.
Thank you. Presentation, discussion, and possible recommendation for naloxone cabinets in the parks.
Yes, I believe so. So we have Ms. Janelle Rodriguez and Mr. Adam Holt who would like to address the board regarding the cabinets for the parks.
Hey y'all, my name is Janelle Rodriguez, and if you don't know, I think most of y'all do know, in the summer of 22, KCISD lost 4 students to fentanyl poisoning in a matter of weeks of each other. My son was one of those students. Not only did we lose Hayes students, but we lost Hayes County kids. And this is my son Noah. And Noah was 15 years old and is a sophomore at Johnson High School. Since Noah's passing, I have started the Forever 15 project. What we do as a project is we've partnered up with Hayes County Sheriff's Department. We have a very impactful presentation that we have taken nationwide, soon international, just spreading awareness. I have been able to get fentanyl awareness billboards across the state of Texas. What else have I done? Yeah, so many. You know, we set up at any event that we can with our booth. We got information to the community, outside the community, naloxone, which is I guess the off-brand, the name brand would be called Narcan. It's a medication that can reverse somebody in an overdose state, so it could potentially save someone's life. And I brought my buddy Adam here because he has more of the statistics. And actually, I met Adam at one of my first presentations. He told my sister that he is in recovery and he's got an amazing organization in San Marcos. It's called Outsiders Anonymous. But outside of his organization, he has a free Narcan stand where anybody can go grab some Narcan. And he did that specifically because of my son. My son was at a friend's house when he passed. So our project has managed to get a few dollars in our account. And the first thing I wanted to do, I bought about 10 of these boxes. And it's my goal to set them up at every single park that we have in Hayes County. So these boxes hold us, you know, a good amount of Narcan. My organization will be responsible for refilling that and keeping track of usage and, you know, stuff like that, all the things that we need to. But I feel like we are still seeing these poisonings. We haven't had any deaths recently. Hayes CISD did lose 2 more students. But I feel, especially kids, they're in the parks playing basketball, hanging out, and I'm not naive to know, and naive enough to say that our kids are not doing drugs. I mean, it happened to my son, who was an honor student and an athlete. You know, he was experimenting. And it's not just for the kids, it's for the community. We want anybody to have access to this because you can walk into Evo, go to the bathroom and somebody's passed out on the ground. You know, so my goal, and like I said, I'll bring my buddy Adam up here and he can give you more specifics on reverse, Narcan reversal and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it is, I know a lot of, hi, I'm Adam, I run Outsiders Anonymous. We're a recovery community organization. We're the only free substance use treatment facility here in Hays County. And a lot of people see naloxone and they get scared. They see Narcan and they're like, what is this? Is this gonna be sort of like enabling people to use? And so we've had, in the 2 years that we've had our free Narcan stand, we're the only place right now you get free Narcan in Hays County. We distributed over 1,000 doses of Narcan. Last year, we tracked at least 60 overdose reversals between us and law enforcement and other organizations that we know. And so actually in the time that we've been sort of pushing Narcan, overdose deaths have gone down in the county. And so usage statistics have not gone up. Narcan or naloxone, Narcan, a lot of people worry that it's something that's going to take training to do. It's something that people can overdose. It is one of the most stable pharmaceutical molecules that exists. It can survive at 125 degrees for days on end. It can be frozen and still be fine. It is not something that you can overdose with. If you're not already suffering from the effects of opioid overdose, it's an inert molecule. All it basically does is it blocks the receptor sites for the opioid receptors in your brain. And if you're not experiencing an overdose, there's absolutely nothing that can happen. We've done trainings where we squirt it in our nose, and it's super simple, and it is effective. And so it does not. If you need studies, I can show it does not increase drug usage. It does not increase gateway drug usage. It's not associated with anything negative, and it's just really effective. And so we at no commitment from the city of Kyle. I know that we would like to partner with the city to have this, and we will provide all the Narcan. We will follow up. We'll have little QR codes on there. People can contact us. And it's also a great way to be able to get support for them with little QR codes so people know who's available and what to do. And so it's just a great opportunity, especially in Hays County. 2 years ago, Hays County was in the top 10 per capita in high school student overdose deaths in the nation. So based on a population of our size, we were top 10. And so it's a really, really big problem being as close to the border as we are and between two big cities. And so, this is something that the city can tangibly do to show that we're not all about fear, that we actually want to take the right steps to sort of help our students, help our kids, and help people by offering stuff.
May I ask a question? So, I'm all for it. I'm a teacher at Hays CIC too, but I'm nervous just about how much you're going to have to, if they're just at a park, you know what I mean? Can people just open that up and take it if they want to play with it, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so that's something that we thought. So outside of our facility, we have our free Narcan stand, and we were like, people are just gonna come, they're gonna take all our fentanyl testing strips, they're gonna take all the Narcan. And so we only put 3 doses in it at a time. 3 doses people can take all of it. Sometimes it takes 2 doses to revive somebody. But yeah, there are ways to sort of mitigate that. And if somebody does play with it, like if a kid comes and they're like, what is this? Absolutely nothing will happen. It is as safe as sailing when you're not experiencing an overdose. So is there a small risk? Yes, but it is less than the risk of someone dying and not having it.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about maybe with a gas station every mile, here, maybe it would be more effective to have it so close to a park where, and where people aren't just, it's outside your building.
Mhm.
So that's less likely to get taken, whereas if it's just out on a pole at Waterleaf or on a pole at Greg Clark, that it may just get taken and when it's needed, it's not there. But if it's in a gas station that's across the street where people can walk in, where, you know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean. So the odds are people do not overdose within walking distance of a free Narcan vending machine or a free Narcan stand. Just doesn't happen. The point of these is to be at a publicly accessible place where people can take them at their free will. And because what happens, most like 90% of overdose responses are done by community members that are near somebody else that's overdosing. So the hope is that this will be here. They'll be able to come take it, put it in their bag, have it with them. Our unhoused neighbors will be able to keep it with them so that if something does happen, they will have it. So we just want to create an access point.
Yeah, because I was getting a lot of when Narcan was behind the counter, like it wasn't, right now it's over the counter. You can go into your Walgreens, HEB, purchase it for $50 a box, right? But before that happened, I had people telling me, when I go and ask my pharmacist for Narcan, they kind of give me like this look, like I'm an addict, and I'm not, So I was like, let me go try this. So I went over to HEB in Buda and I said, here's my insurance card. I would like a box of Narcan. And I was treated like I was the user. So this is another way for people to not feel stigmatized or, it's just,
And it's a tangible way to sort of shift away from fear. I know a lot of people are scared in the community, and so by giving them something to empower the community and shifting away from this, just don't do drugs, making it safe for the people that do make those poor choices.
I wondered what the costs to the city would be to do this.
none.
Zero.
None. We just ask that you let us find a place to place it. We will cover.
So you're asking permission
Yes.
from us.
Yeah, either one of us, we both have access. We just received a grant to increase our Narcan and harm reduction outreach. And so we'll make sure it's stocked between the two of us and it will be no cost to the city whatsoever.
We can vote on it as a board, whether or not to take it to discuss it and take it to city, the council, whatever.
I know I'm not on there, to make comments, but my name is Gerald Mendoza. I'm Justice of the Peace here in, Kyle. Right before I came over to be Justice of the Peace, I was with San Marcos Police. I was a school resource officer at, the high school. And I actually trained teachers and staff how to use Narcan. And just like they're saying, that it is, one, very beneficial to, those that are overdosing from an opioid. And then two, it's non-harming basically if someone actually did. Now, yeah, I also have concerns, hey, kids are gonna, in parks, there's gonna be a lot of kids, juveniles out there, and they're just gonna be mischievous and grabbing stuff. But like they're saying, better have it there than not have it at all. And if they're gonna be out there monitoring it and keeping an eye on, actually replenishing it, then I think we'll be good. But yeah, in the last 3 months, I've gone to 2 overdoses for juveniles or teenagers for fentanyl. So yeah, I think, it's a good idea. And,
Can I ask one more question? I know that, like at school, of course, we have it everywhere with stuff, but have you partnered with the schools or talked to the schools at all about putting
So,
outside? the building?
Forever 15 project is Hay CISD official nonprofit partnership. So yes.
Because I know like schools have I'm just putting this out.
When
they
I
got
go
the
to
food
schools,
pantry.
they don't allow me to take Narcan and hand them out directly to the kids.
Right.
But outside of school, they, if they need them, or if I see them on the street, I'll toss them a box of Narcan.
So what if we just made access points for it?
Yes,
They don't have to necessarily be at the park.
Right.
But they could be in a vicinity where if something is happening, it's convenient for someone in their neighborhood to go get it.
And advertising where access.
Yes.
points.
Yeah, and that's been successful in a lot of other cities. San Antonio, for one, they really embraced it and they have a lot of access points like that. And they have some of the lowest overdose per capita rates in the state. And so there's a lot of data showing that things like that do work.
Because I know other cities have like emergency phones if like access points,
Yeah.
if your phone dies, but. With
And it's like, if to answer, your if some troubled youth or somebody making poor choices goes and ransacks the Narcan thing, that's the person we need to have it. Because if they're making, an uneducated decision in that way, they might be around other people that are making uneducated decisions. So, it's a win-win. We want to get Narcan into the hands of people.
Thank you very much.
How long does a person have to take it, if they're experiencing borderline?
Just as soon as you can get to them. I don't know if you've seen the surveillance video of the two young teenagers that parked behind Camino Real Elementary one night. They were doing drugs and the driver was poisoned. It took about 35 minutes before his friend called for help. By the time EMS got there, I think it took over 6 Narcan, but he was able to be brought back.
Yeah, so there's a lot of factors in play. Essentially, what an opioid overdose does is it shuts down your central nervous system, and so you'll suffocate. And so it's really dependent on the dose, the weight of the person, the age, their cardiovascular activity. But really, it's if they've stopped breathing, that's when you have between 4 and 5 minutes to get to them. But a lot of times they'll have shallow breath. And so I've known people to be resuscitated up to an hour after the first signs of an overdose.
So there would be time for someone to
Yeah.
go.
But the goal is for somebody to take this, just have it with them at all times. And I could leave this with y'all if y'all needed to keep it and discuss it further. Whatever.
Can I have one?
Maybe.
Yes,
we'll keep it
yes,
as- Yeah, if you don't mind, we could keep it in.
Absolutely.
Thank you. for those.
And it's not just for juveniles, it can,
No.
there's a lot of elderlies that take opioids as part of the pain medications and stuff. That's also good for them as well.
We're gonna vote on a recommendation for staff to take this to the city council and stuff. Next meeting. We'll just do like all in favor?
You would,
Oh,
go ahead
sorry.
and make your motion first.
Oh, I'll make a
You wanna
motion.
Make a motion to allow for the boxes to be in the parks or to now allow for the video parks, and then staff can take a recommendation to city management, and then we'll pop up.
Are we?
Or can we say a motion to?
You guys can discuss
Access
it amongst
point.
yourselves.
Yeah,
Sure,
I like
access
that
point,
access point.
Yeah,
It will give you more of a
You get your-
variety to choose from than just parks. Be a dumb analogy, but Amazon has their little lockers everywhere. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
It's not a shopping center right here. Where they're,
interesting. So if the park board decides to make a motion, to direct staff to tell city management that we don't want them in the park, but we encourage them in other parts of the city, and we can make that motion. But right now, we're really looking to see if the park board wants them in the parks as the request has been made, or not.
So we, we need a motion for a recommendation that they're in the parks. To take to city council. So do we just go on the, or do we,
Now, someone will make a motion, and then someone will second, and then you guys will take your vote.
I'll make the motion on the recommendation to take it to the city council that they're in the parks.
And then all in favor.
All in favor? Anyone opposed?
And we have a second. So we will take the recommendation to our city management that the park board recommends placing the naloxone boxes in the parks. And go from there and follow up with you all. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So we'll discuss, discussion and possible, we're gonna skip number 2 and 3 for now, we'll come back to those. We're in discussion and possible recommendation regarding the EMX bike park.
Yes, yeah. So since we do have guests here specifically for the bike BMX park and number 2 is not present, we're gonna go ahead and move that up. So the goal for today, remember, was to decide a location for the bike BMX park. And then also, we have a new purchasing department. So I'm not writing the entire RFQ now. I'm working with our new administrative services director. And so I'm supposed to give her the chunk of what we want in the bike BMX park. And this is kind of the feedback we got from the last presentations and then the follow-up after the meeting. And you guys, this is time to discuss what we want in this bike BMX park and where do we want it. The possible locations that have been brought up already were Waterloo Park, Kyle Vista Park, and Seton Park. So Waterloo Park, as we know, we have that huge space over there by the Waterloo Trailhead. Plenty of spots for the bike BMX park. So at first, the bike BMX community came here, they really liked Waterley Park, and then we got some feedback that some people didn't like Waterley Park. But I think you guys can kind of probably change your mind that you do like Waterley Park again. We did explore Kyle Vista Park a little bit. Kyle Vista Park is totally undeveloped parkland next to Chapel Middle School. And so there's not really a master plan for that park yet. There's a future potential site of a future recreation center, should that ever be moved forward. And the other location was Seton Park, which is that open space across from Seton Hospital. So the bike BMX park would like run around the perimeter of the park, but not into the middle. So I think as a group, everyone still leaned back to Waterleaf Park. So you guys will decide on your location, and then I'll read what was we had agreed to go in the RFQ.
Ariana, I suggest maybe you rank several locations, as recommendations,
Okay, we can write them.
then maybe write into the RFQ to have your bidder also study locations.
Okay.
For a good location.
Remember that. Everyone knows Jerry's our assistant city manager, for those who do not know. Okay, we got that, Jerry. Okay, so here's what we had. So when city council approved the funding, we have $1 million for a bike BMX park. But it don't have to be just the bike BMX park. It includes the bike BMX park, the bicycle track, the single pump track. You can include all of that. So we had 10 miles of single bike track, bike skills feature section, a BMX pump track for beginners, and a BMX pump track for adaptive section, 1 mile of kids bike playground, a parking lot, a restroom, a pavilion, lighting, bike racks, a bike fix-it station, seating, security. And I think that was all I got from our feedback. Any thoughts on that from anyone?
All that for $1 million.
That's what I was gonna say. So, right, so, you know, right, you put it on the RFQ, and then whatever bids come back, then the review committee, before it comes back to park board, will look and see what elements you want and how you want to spend the money. But those are the items that we've asked to be bidded on.
Can I make a clarification here? It was said, a pump BMX track, but BMX track is racing. So is there, if it's just labeled pump track, BMX can still use it, right?
Yes, pump
Okay.
track is for all bikes. It's even for wheelchairs or scooters or even skateboards can ride it. One wheel machines, all those types.
Okay. And if we label it a pump BMX track, are we narrowing who thinks they can use it because they hear that terminology or see that on
Yeah,
our
I would call it
websites?
a all-wheel pump track.
Broaden who might think they could use it by clarifying.
Did we capture like all the feedback from the group, the bike group that came to speak with us and our guest speakers and the park board?
Yeah, I think we did. I mean, the whole thing with the BMX, like it being a BMX in my mind, and I mean, you can correct me. Is that like, because we're putting in a skate park that is for, I've visited a skate park, you know, where kids are on their BMX bikes at the skate park, right? So are we trying to eliminate that feature and just do a more of a trail pump track thing where it's not like a concrete?
Yeah, you're probably gonna want to build something that's asphalt for a pump track. And then if you do want to do like a mountain bike loop, that's gonna probably be dirt. Maybe with some type of thing on it to keep it from getting rained out, because it's gonna need maintenance at that point. So,
I think that was one of the feedback, all the public engagement sessions we had, we were designing the skate park. Was that, yeah, bikes could use a skate park essentially, but one of the feedbacks from the skate community and the bike community is that they wanted their own bike park. And so that's why we went after the request for the bike park. I mean, could they use it? Yes, but that's
The
the
pump park is more like longevity and stuff. I mean, the trick park or wherever, like, where they stand on the side, go, you know. I watched it.
Section, but be like the bike skill section, the pump track section, like, so we tried to include it all, just to cover everything that everyone said. Mr. Collins, did you have any problem?
Yeah, I'm allowed to talk during this time. I'm not sure how it all.
30 seconds.
I just had a question. I think he said either 10 miles or 1 mile, and I wasn't sure if that's gonna be within the park or if that goes into the woods and.
This is from like the wish list, and it was in the park. So
Okay.
up to 10 miles of single bike track and up to 1 mile of the kids' bike playground.
Okay.
Wish list. That sound
That sounds great.
reflective of what you guys were saying that the
Yeah.
community wanted.
Sounds great.
All right, so I don't really need, well, I guess,
We need to rank the park.
yeah, to rank the parks, and then I'll need a motion for the location and the rank of the park. So as Jerry mentioned, we can add that. Right, to the park.
Can I speak real fast? So is that cool?
27 seconds.
Okay. So when you build a pump track, you can build sections of this pump track to be for everybody. I don't necessarily think that you should put funding into a kid's. It is for kids, the pump
Right.
track is for kids, and you can make it whatever you want, but adding a separate section of just like a little kid path is
Right.
not gonna be your best bang for your buck.
Yeah.
And so what we do is like, we can include it in the RFQ, but then when the proposals come back, you're looking at reviews them. Definitely, if that's not something you guys want to proceed with, and to get the feedback.
Just so you know, the way RQ works is Mariana will write this thing up, the top of our procurement department. And we'll put that out and then we'll solicit for responses. The responses will be sealed till the deadline, and then a team, typically staff. Maybe some of you guys be involved in that. Go through and kind of rank the submittals. There may be top 3 or 5 might be interviewed by the panel. Eventually, the winner, whoever scores the highest, that recommendation will go to council, go confirm that, that award. But then we have to go back and negotiate a contract. That all this will be incorporated as much as possible. Then that contract goes back to council. So it's a very somewhat tedious process, but it's good to have all that stuff in there. For $1 million, you're probably not gonna get all that, but that's where negotiating the contract.
So we'll make a motion to rank the parks.
The locations and
Of the location.
and I will have them send me the locations.
So it sounds like everybody chooses Waterley first. And then, I'm sorry, Seton or Eagle Shape, no, Seton or. My thing is, I mean, this is my personal opinion, so it can't be wrong, that if we do it by Chapa, that what's the point of spending that much money and then, I mean, because we do want a sportsplex, right? We do want something somewhere down the line there, so what's the point of spending that money and then taking it away from the community? So I would say Seton would be our second one, and then.
Yeah, and just, Kyle Vista, the parkland that's available over there is large enough for a rec center, for tennis courts, or baseball courts. With plenty of space over there as well. But yeah, there is no overall master plan that's been determined for that park.
They're not room for Seton.
Seton Park, the only thing that we know is going at Seton Park is a community garden. We got the lines put in, so yeah.
Make sure. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so it sounds like Waterleaf, Seton, and then Kyle Vista. And then we were good with all the different elements that could potentially be included in there. Don't need any. Okay, great.
About same motion.
We're good. Go back to number 2.
Okay.
Thank you all for everyone who came to the fight.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you.
We are really excited. I know I am.
All right, the presentation, discussion, and possible recommendation regarding a partnership to host a fly fishers meetup.
Okay, so our presenter, who is unable to be here today, it's very simple. He just wants to partner with the Parks Department to hold free fly fishing clinics and workshops at the Kruger Activity Center. But the way our ordinance is, so I can, as a Parks Director, approve the waiver of the fees. But we always like to bring any fee waiver requests to the Park Board for your guys' thinking. for, your guys' support. Before we just say, "Yeah, you can use the building for free, staff would like to enter in a partnership to offer free fly fishing classes, at the creek. We don't have an indoor facility at the lake.
But it's not,
That's the
it's
only
just
reason.
like a meetup,
Yeah,
so
that's the
eventually
only
they could
reason.
probably move to the lake once we get professional.
Figure out how you.
Yeah, it's more like a classroom style. You know, it's kind of like a classroom style. It's a classroom style, and then meet up and then talk about one.
So I'll make a motion to join in partnership with the Fly Fishers Meetup and waive that fee. Second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
You and I will let them.
I love that. River runs through it, maybe. I've been in Montana, so. Alright, number 3. Discussion and possible recommendation regarding the 2024 market days.
And Senator Shiba, our special event coordinator.
Hi, I'm Shiva. So we normally have the market, for 2022, we had the market from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. But during the warmer months of June through August, we had lower participation and we had people having health complications and we had a few issues. So we were wondering if it was possible to, for the warmer months of June through August, to change the market hours to 8 a.m. going until 1 p.m. And then once it cools down, we'll go back to 9 to 2. So the first market in April and May, those will be 9 to 2 because it's cooler during those months. And then September through November, those will be 9 to 2 as well. But June through August would be 8 to 1.
Just for the times. You need to vote on that?
Right, and we do, we really are seeking the park board's feedback
Yeah.
and approval because we get a lot of requests, you know, for year-long markets, for afternoon markets, for farmers markets. And so our market day decisions, we really want the park board's input and support either way. Because I know there's been a lot of changes with how we run our market days.
Why don't we just start at 8? At the whole year, or from the start to finish. I would rather get up and go.
Yeah, I mean, most market dates do start at 7 a.m.
That's what I was thinking, 9 seems kind of late anyway, so 8 seems like, I'd probably make it to 8.
So it will be 8 to 1.
Year round.
Year round.
Yeah.
We get a moment.
Let's get a motion to vote on the changing the times from 8 to 1 year round.
So when you guys say year-round, you mean for the season?
For the
Yes.
market season.
You just signed me up for year round.
It's dripping, so I'm used to it, but.
Yeah.
Okay. A motion and a second. And a vote.
Anybody want a second?
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed?
8 to 1.
I think it's great. Put little coffee vendors out there.
Because it gets so hot.
Well, I mean, it is most market day people do. I mean, like Wimberley starts from 7 to goes from like 7 to 1.
Yeah.
I mean, most people usually that business. Is that all for number 3?
Forms are attached, but they're the changes, right? Yeah,
To the vendor application,
to the other, forms.
but without being able to change on the forms and the times.
The other change was 5 days. The other changes we made were, if you put in your application and the moment from the date when you receive your email of approval, you have 5 business days to make your payment. Because we had vendors sign up, say for all the markets, but they would they would not pay. So I would have them on the Excel thinking they were going to be there, but they would just not show up.
So
I
is,
actually have something that is directly related to that. I know someone who is on occasion a vendor for market days who cannot do the thing that they do if there's super, like lots of clouds or moisture or humidity in the air. And so that particular person would have to pay for days they don't know that they would actually be able to set up. So is there a way that they could then like come back later?
Yes,
and say
so
that
what we
isn't
do
gonna
it
work, or-
whereby if, let's say you pay for April, but we do have some vendors that cannot be out there depending on the weather. So I let them transfer that fee to a different market day, yeah.
Okay.
And they just email me, even if they already made their payment, they just email me and let me know, and we can always transfer it to a different event.
What we're also running into is because we try to limit the duplication of everything, so we don't have 10 vendors selling the same bottles that are designed. And what was happening is that we were turning people away because these people said that they're gonna be there and we were waiting for the payment because the deadline's different. Well, then we lost out on over a handful of vendors during this time. Whenever they come, they're like, well, they weren't even here. And I was like, well, can't do anything about that. So this would eliminate that issue.
Is there not like something where they pay for their spot, right? Like say I'm spot number 17, so that's my spot to pay. But if I don't get to show up, then I can either sell my, you can like, you know what I mean? So they have to pay for that spot no matter what. I mean, because the fee is very minimal, you know what I mean? So does that work at all for y'all? Like, I mean, I'm just thinking of,
Like
yeah.
a non-refundable
Yeah.
deposit or a
Sometimes,
transferable deposit.
Right. Sometimes
That's
it
what it
will
would be.
Yeah, it's not really, so we haven't done transferable only because we sometimes have a waiting list. And so like if someone says, hey, I'm not gonna be there, but I'm gonna give so-and-so my spot, we might have like 4 or 5 people on the waiting.
But that's when the transferable goes to the next person in line.
Yeah, but sometimes we have vendors telling us who they want to give it to.
You can't necessarily do
Yeah.
that.
Don't
That's,
do it.
that's what the,
Yeah.
but that's what the non-refundable deposit hits, like, hey, you'll get your money because this next person's gonna pay.
Right, if we
for
can
your
rent a spot, you
Yeah,
can transfer. If we can't, then you're still liable for that payment.
And that's the key, if we can rent your spot, not if you can find someone to do it.
Right.
We can
yeah,
find someone to
that's,
take it
that's
over
what the
for
word
you.
has to say, we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty much the same thing.
yeah, so that'll kind of fall in line with the 5 days. So they have their 5 days to pay, and like you were saying, it's a $35 fee. So they choose to do it, and if they don't, at that point, we're now giving your spot to the next vendor.
But you lose your money.
That's the way that we do it.
If, but they wouldn't have paid. So what's happening is within those 5 business days, for example, if you were going out and you were selling t-shirts, you send in an application, Sheba sent it to you on Monday, letting you know, yes, you're approved for May market. And must pay by Friday, the 6th, and it didn't come through and you never made your payment. Then at that point, we know that you're not going to be a vendor. So if she called in to sell the same shirts, she has the opportunity now to
Yeah.
take that spot.
How far in advance can a vendor ask to be given a spot?
We will open them on February 12th.
And do you open them for the whole season?
Mhm.
Yes. Okay, so if in like February 12th, if the person that I know wanted to sign up for all of them,
Mhm.
they have to make payment for all of them. And then in August, it's raining.
Yeah, so then they cancel. And so at that point, she or he.
But then
she
they
or
eat
he
the
registered.
fee.
They won't eat it at that point. So if it's
Okay.
canceled, then they get the refund.
But
Or
that's
on
if
our-
y'all cancel the whole thing,
Right.
not if they can't do
Yeah.
what they.
Or it could be
Right.
transferred.
Yeah, that's where
So
the
when
transfer comes in.
Well, that's what
Get them to transfer it to any event. So for example, if somebody was
Any
an
event,
out
not
there,
just a market day, but any event, like
Yes.
that's like
So if they pay
money
for,
on account.
yeah, so if they pay for all of them, for all of Sheba's markets, but then come August, August, there's a rain out, then they can apply that transfer fee towards Pie in the Sky.
Okay, got
Yes.
it. That's useful.
That's good. Like market days is always a big discussion every year, so this is good. Makes me want to keep improving. It's-
So it'll be a motion on the 5 day
To remove it or just to keep it like?
to approve. It's a brand new thing, so
Oh,
to
okay.
approve if you guys decide to approve, that would be. Or
Okay. So I'm making a motion to approve the 5-day business days of receiving the approval. Failure, make the payment will result in loss of, right, everything highlighted?
Yes.
Would anybody like a second? I appreciate it. All in favor? Anyone opposed? All right. Anything else we need to discuss?
No, I think that was it. Those are the
Sure.
I don't know if I can go back, but I was thinking about the boxes. Is there a time limit that, I mean, I'm thinking city council might ask, well, how long are those boxes gonna be out there? Or how long are they committed to refilling?
I'll
them?
follow up with them on that, on those questions. Thank you.
What was your question again?
The
Shelf life.
The shelf life.
no, she's wanting to know the time. I think it's
Oh, okay.
number 5. Presentation, discussion, and possible recommendation regarding the Parks and Recreation Department's 5-year plan.
So following up the last 2 meetings, I cannot share my screen because I'm recording, but I printed it so you all have it in the packets in front of you. And this is the rough draft presentation that we've been working on with the staff and with Mr. Hendricks. That is just about final for me to send to him, to Mr. Hendricks, so that he can present as the council vision and retreat. So as we mentioned, we're looking at park projects, standards, expectations for the next 5 years. And requesting from city council, now this is where our parks are now, right? This is where we want our parks to be, and this is how much money we need. And just kind of giving it all to them for the next 5 years. And this includes the things the park board has expressed they want, the staff have said they want, citizen, community surveys, so it's a little of everything. So I'll go through the presentation page by page, and if there's any slide that you guys think needs to be revised or something added or deleted, please speak up. It's just a discussion and a time to get feedback from the board before I send it to Mr. Just about it. So the first slide kind of just gives an overview of our presentation. We've completed a current assessment of all of our facilities. We have looked at the 2016 park and rec. Yes. Yes, sir. Yeah. The.
You just sent me the meeting.
So she said indefinitely. They would maintain it indefinite.
considered design. That's like next door connected to Buck Creek, right? Just like County Corner. On the other side of the nature trail.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely next to it. I was about to plan my own parks east. The steeplechase is east. Steeplechase, yeah.
And if it helps in your guys' annual report, there's a map in there and all the dark green spots will show you the distribution. I've sent it to Jerry.
The like plan of using. No, I'm just kidding, go ahead.
Like a couple months ago, 2 months ago, over by, there's a creek that runs through Bucking Creek, someone's dogs got out and they both died, and they were found by the creek. They don't think he ever contacted anyone. Something like that. I don't. He did it all. Strange, I think, But no. Other punctures.
So you have the handout in front of you and Jerry is also shared on the screen. That's easier to follow. So I'll kind of just regroup. So we did the assessment of all our current facilities. So park by park, amenity by amenity. We've looked at our 2016 recreation open space master plan. As y'all know, that was a master plan that was approved in 2016 as a 10-year master plan. And as a board, we discuss revising it every 5 years and reviewing it annually moving forward. We've looked at the community requests for parks and facilities for the last couple of community surveys, but we're revising the presentation to include just the last community survey. The beautification division is now under our department. So we've looked at beautification efforts across the board for not just parks, but for the city as well. And then kind of conclude it with a listing of our 5-year CIP projects. So the assessment of the facilities that we completed, we're listing the facilities by park, listing the conditions of each park amenity, the conditions of every playground, and the inclusiveness of our play features. So our new certified therapeutic rec specialist has also done her own assessment of all of our playgrounds on inclusivity as well. Our overall assessment findings show that just across the board in the parks, we have a lack of shade, a kind of a lack of connectivity. So like we have trails in the parks, but they don't really connect to a master trail plan. All of our parking pretty much needs upgrades and or lacks parking. And we have a need for an indoor programming space, right? So we're doing all these programs and events, but we're really limited as to what we can do. So an example of the assessment of our facilities, we start with the assessment of the playground. So we list each playground by park. We note what date around they were installed, so about how old they are, and then kind of their current condition. So of course, the two new parks, La Verde Park and Heroes Memorial Park, are in the best condition because they're brand new. But as far as all of our other playgrounds, with the exception of Lake Kyle, they are in moderate condition because they're usable, they're good, but they're very outdated. They are ready to be replaced. And then we do that for every single park. So the next couple of slides go park by park. If it's in the orange, it's in poor condition. If it's in the red, it's in moderate condition. And if it's in the green, it's in great condition. So we look at the baseball, the picnic tables, the soccer fields, every single amenity that's in the park. That's 1, 2, 3 slides after that. And then some of the amenities that we've already started this, our last fiscal year and this fiscal year, we've listed them, just kind of like in the planning stages. Also part of our existing inventory was looking at our workspace. We currently have a park staff of 46 people, and we have 2 buildings for those staff. So 13 of the staff are officed at Lake Kyle, and every single person, including myself, share an office at Lake Kyle. Amy has 3 people in her office. And then at our park maintenance shop, that's where all of our park maintenance and our beautification team members are housed. All other spaces we use as a department are the Greg Clark Park Sportsplex storage. So the recreation division uses an old concession stand that's not being used as their storage space. Then our special events division uses an offsite private public storage for her space. Other than that, we are very, very limited on space. So even though we can fit more than 1 staff in an office at Lake Kyle, it's like we all have a lot of stuff to store. So that kind of makes it a little squish. That's part of the existing inventories.
Who make your lives easier?
I mean, we're very together. Like, we're very close. So our current, so like moving on to our current inventory, we've attached a current park map. And I was mentioning earlier, if you look down the middle is Interstate 35. And all the green space you can see is east of Interstate 35. Majority of the parkland is on the east side. However, the newer park amenities tend to be on the west side. There's Heroes, La Verde, the Sportsplex. So looking to the next map is the connectivity. So it includes the trail network, the current natural trail, the proposed ride trail, and then where those connections across the city are.
The thing that says like HOA or private, that's no access to.
Most of the HOAs are not, like, that we don't maintain them, or private or public. So no. So then, we were asked to really look at the 2016 park master plan. So our new city manager in this November tasked us with, coming up with that 5-year vision, that 5-year plan. And that's when we came to the park board on December 18th, that we discussed with you guys the same day I discussed with staff. And these are kind of the findings that we have. So in 2018 is when the park master plan for Kyle Vista Park was developed. And at that time, Kyle Vista Park was going to include a rec center, tennis courts, trails, baseball fields, soccer fields, skate park, disc golf, fix the spelling on that, picnic areas, pavilion, and a restroom. Well, that really never moved forward after that. And then they completed a recreation center operations plan in 2010. And then in 2021, that's when the citywide Vibe Trails Master Plan was developed. And as you know, the Trails Committee has really encouraged us to make one combined trails plan. Because right now we have the Plum Creek Trail, we have the bike trail, we have the Vibe, and they really want us to make just a one trail plan in its entirety, and so we want to include that as part of the park master plan. The 2016 master plan priorities that some of them we have achieved, some of them are in the progress, and some we just haven't achieved, were to make improvements to our developed and undeveloped parks, our major trails, to develop major trails, preserve the environment, develop an indoor rec center, to add larger parks with more amenities, which we've done with La Verde, to develop large regional parks, which we're doing with the skate park, develop signature parks such as Botanical Garden, Festival Grounds, or Downtown Park. This sportsplex could potentially have a festival ground. We have developed the community gardens. To provide parks that can be used with people with disabilities, which we've achieved with the start at Lake Kyle, and then adding inclusive play places to every single one of our playgrounds. That's our next task. Providing youth recreation programs, we've increased the rec programs by 300%, but still without an indoor facility. They're really challenged as to what other facilities we can do. I'm sorry, what's that?
No, we're not. There's a lot you can do. And that's just, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that to come out wrong. It's just, there's a lot you can do, and I know there's a lot you can do, just because of,
And we are, yeah, like I said, we have increased programming by 300%, so I totally agree with you.
you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot more you can do that can be done with the youth here.
Okay, yeah, actually start shooting it out and we'll add that feedback in. Yeah, whenever, throughout this, like, when I get through, if you want to like share things, we can add those in too as part of the plan. Providing parks that can be used with people with disability, expanding the youth recreation programming, developing an aquatic center, having smaller parks with fewer amenities. So Masonwood Park was one we were trying to achieve that. Creating an Art in the Park program, which had its first year of success this past year, and then expand the adult athletic leagues. So focusing on the ball fields and the ball field improvements, the kickball, and trying to get more athletic leagues. So from the recent community surveys, these citizens have shown they want more hike and bike trails, an indoor rec center, dog parks, a swimming pool, and a splash pad. So the data here is from the last 3 years, but we're going to take it to just the last community survey. As far as beautification effort, we're looking at trees across the board, planting trees, landscaping, and signage. We have contracts with Brightview Development that currently maintains the Heroes Memorial Park and La Verde Park once a week. And then the days that they're not there, our park maintenance staff are maintaining. And as far as our city corridors, we have contracts with Easter Seals and Brightview to maintain Interstate 35, other areas throughout the city, and then the gateways as well.
We're working on an RFP for the highlight mowing, and so each sales doesn't currently do.
No, it actually just, yeah, expired, so it's going, it just got posted and just closed.
That probably won't.
So I need to update that part, yeah. Okay, so currently facility enhancements are taking place as we speak. As we mentioned earlier, the skate park, which is to be started construction at the end of summer. It is at 60% design. The splash pads, which should be completed in the next couple of weeks. Ash Pavilion got all its upgrades, pickleball courts, tennis courts, and the ball field improvements. Plum Creek Trail improvements are going to City Council on February 6th. So some trail equipment that the Trails Committee has been wanting will go for approval. And then an online survey for Waterloo Park has run out for the Waterloo Park upgrades that we discussed. Park cameras will be completed and park restrooms are being completed. And then the ones that are in planning stages as we speak are the Bike BMX Park, the Lineberger Lake Fishing Pier, and the parking lot improvements for all parks. So those are just the ones going on right now. So looking ahead, we've said that in the next 5 years, we want to have a park within 10 minutes walking distance of all residents. We want to exceed our park maintenance standards in all areas of irrigation, playgrounds, water features, just all the different areas of maintenance. To offer a variety of rec programs and events. To be one of the best park and rec departments in the state of Texas and to obtain our national certification. And then the other slides didn't print, but since we have it on the screen, we can keep going. So Jerry tasked us with coming up with a map of what it would look like if we had a park within 10 minutes walking distance of every citizen. And as you can see, that's where is reflected in the purple circles. So then the next map.
Mariana, can you add a percentage to this, to how many people live within 10 minutes of the park?
Okay. And then in 5 years, based off the parkland that we know is gonna get developed, what it would look like in 5 years.
What percentage for that?
And then an overlay of our current conditions with the estimated 5-year condition. Percentage. Okay. And then for our 5-year summary plan, at first, when we presented it to the park board, we had it separated by park. Now it's separated by project. And it's a lot of CIP plans. So, and I don't know why these pages didn't print, but it's everything that we went over at the last meeting. Staff just went back and got more solid quotes and kind of distributed a little more strategically. And that's the following couple pages.
What's the ball field? Is that the one by Lehman?
So the ball field improvements is for all the ball fields. So, the one by Lehman Steeplechase Park is included, yes.
All these places that say improvements or whatever, we're gonna need to list out what those are.
Right. So you say that, like if it says ball field improvements, you want a separate box below it saying dugouts, fencing,
Yeah, or a
lighting.
different page, some detail. on each
Yeah,
one.
okay. That's the first one that we worked on. Just add that in.
Keep in mind that these improvements aren't going to be like new versions of what we already have. These improvements are supposed to be gold standard, like what you find in a really immaculate, well cared for, well used park.
And so the next few pages, so what we want from the park board, like Mr. Board Member Ramirez was saying, what else do y'all feel we need to add to this 5-year plan to get us to that level?
Could you go back to the map really quick of the parks?
To the
Gold standard level.
the gold standard.
I mean, this, with all the kids and everything that we have here, like, this city has to have some kind of sports flex where it is what we're talking about, like where there's 4 soccer fields, 4 multi-use baseball, softball fields.
Or indoor basketball,
Right,
volleyball.
But you're right, so you said indoor, right?
But right now, you can do it at this park right here.
Greg Clark Park?
Because you have a overstage for the basketball court.
Soccer and.
We ran basketball outside in San Marcos when COVID hit. We had a whole bunch of
We
people.
just did one at a time, sorry. Sorry.
They can sometimes, but programs have to go to the school and ask if there's availability, so we can't guarantee that special occurrence. So what we're doing now in volleyball is we travel to San Antonio, to Round Rock, to everywhere else. And with what we're spending there in the local area, this community could really benefit from an indoor sports flex. They come in, they purchase things from the local area, they go home. They don't stay. I mean, they can come back and visit, but it would really benefit the community and the kids. Right now, we're having to get up and travel.
Can you do it where they stay and then we get the occupancy tax?
You do, what you do is like, you know, the whole thing with the, like, the destination, making Kyle a destination place.
Yes.
Like, you go to Round Rock Sportsplex, where, of course, that facility is, you know, crazy big. But you're talking about thousands of people and their families staying in hotels.
I drive to Round Rock to use their stuff. Yes.
I mean,
Have a water.
There's But you've got to be careful with that, because I know what y'all are talking about, travel and AAU, because that's what I coach for basketball. Now, if you want the community to be able to use that same sportsplex, you're gonna have a big old, basically, debate slash argument with coaches saying, no, I want to reserve this court. But wait, we have the community, this is actually the community's, sportsplex. Well, I'm gonna pay you to use it. That's when, okay, well, you're gonna pay me money? Okay, I'm gonna move these kids off the court then and let y'all play. Where are those kids gonna go?
Well, what you do is you incorporate with the program. So if the city of Kyle joins, and Mariana and I have kind of talked about this, is that right now we're fighting a system where we have neighborhood sports, I-9, city of Kyle, next level sports, all trying to benefit from community kids being in their program. We
Yeah.
have Top Flight, we have Syntax, we have, Sunfield, we have all these things fighting where everybody's building their own facilities, but when you have a multiplex, yes, people rent that multiplex. So from the city of Kyle, where they come in and go, okay, Lone Star Soccer is gonna use these fields on 3 nights a week. And you have to have a legitimate process of contracting that. But with the community, but if my community is going, hey, in September, we have a 8-week-long flag football program, then our fields are taken for that. So we can't host a 7-on-7 tournament because whatever,
We
but
have-
you have to incorporate everything.
But that's what San Marcos did. San Marcos said, okay, the activity center is strictly used for basically the youth group or the youth programs that we had first. Everyone else that's in AAU, that's in select teams, y'all can go to those schools to go sit there and apply and see if you can use their gyms if you're gonna try to practice while we have in season.
That's not the kind of facility I'm talking about. I'm talking about a multi,
No, I
like where
know-
you go
I
and
know
you
what
have
kind of
13
sports they're
volleyball
talking
court,
about,
yeah.
yeah.
So I
But
have the indoor.
how do you
sports
sit there and say, okay, well, this is gonna be used for volleyball when it's a basketball court also though?
I mean.
No, I think you work together and go like, hey, this is, Little Leaguers where they're coming in, they have these months, they have these days. You're not gonna practice, you're not gonna do, I don't know, 5-on-5 or whatever basketball program for every single day for 9 weeks.
Yeah, we did that in San Marcos.
You can, but then I'm saying like, if you want everybody to work together, you say, oh, basketball has it 3 days a week, volleyball has it 3 days a week, and then you have your tournaments on certain days. I think that it's gonna take somebody coming in and designing this thing and going, hey, okay, but yeah, you want your community to make a cajillion dollars, then you let Tiger Elite come and host a soccer tournament for a weekend and your community makes a cajillion dollars. Your facility makes a cajillion dollars and that's giving up 3 days of your facility. But, I'm talking about you need that facility first.
Right,
And
so
it's not,
we need the facility.
Basically,
first,
we're
like,
arguing
no
about a
question
facility
about
that
it.
we don't
Right.
have.
Yeah,
So
but
just so you know, we've commissioned a feasibility study for just such a facility to go along with our sportsplex that we're building. The council and city staff are all very aware of our need for more sports facilities, indoor sports facilities, indoor recreation. Just have to figure out how to pay for it.
Right.
Or through it all, but when the feasibility study results are in, then we start looking for development partners that can help us provide those things. But all the things y'all talked about very much on the map of our city council and executive staff. As a key point, we have our visioning workshop with council coming up in a couple weeks, and it's a key point on our agenda for that weekend to talk about that.
Board Member Ramirez, you were mentioning other outdoor activities you wanted
Yeah,
to see.
okay, so when COVID hit in San Marcos, we couldn't use the activity center. So we went right across the railroad tracks and used the Lions Club basketball courts.
Mhm.
We ran games all day Saturday and half a day Sunday.
So you would like to see outdoor basketball leagues?
Well, since we don't have a sportsplex now, you can use the one that's big.
Right. We can use it, it needs fencing, and we oftentimes have to resurface it because it gets really slippery. And then we also talked about maybe do it inside Ash Pavilion.
Well,
Which we
that's
get
what
we get it 2 days a week because the Kyle hockey has been so successful. We gave them more days, but yeah, I'm gonna follow up with Amy, that's her division. But I like that idea. Any other outdoor basketball league? Any other feedback for projects, events, programs, tasks you guys would like to see added?
think it just has to be.
Senior programs.
More senior programs that are city ran or
Well,
more
I guess-
partnership with CAS.
We've been asking for a facility for a long time. I think we compete for limited space. And I haven't really had a chance to go through this, but is the Cook building, it's I guess it's under, is it under developed?
It's a developed, yeah, the crew facility is, it's in a developed downtown part,
It's just here.
the old city.
But do you see it? I mean, I don't see it.
Oh, I see it's not on the map, that's, yeah, I see what you're saying, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the park is, but not the little building, okay.
I think we need to spend a little money promoting leagues. Because, I mean, Brooke sent me an email today saying their basketball numbers were real low for signups.
They're extremely low, so we can't get into the schools because schools are running their own, they're partnering with other organizations. And then the price to participate in those leagues is more than doubled what we're offering for the youth league. So Amy and Brooke just explore the possibility of partnering with them today. But it kind of weeds out all of our kids who are planning to pay $65. And now you have to tell them, okay, you gotta pay over $100. So Brooke's main job now is just athletics. So before she was doing athletics and aquatics, so she's taken athletics to a whole nother level. But you're saying more efforts in promoting and marketing the athletics.
You could have, I guess, little flyers at the Ash Pavilion. You can have them at the parks. I know it's real hard to get them in schools because they have to be.
That's
think
what
of
suckers
food.
out all the time. It's just, I mean, it's just such a fight, I think, right now, because we don't have a recreation center. We don't have a YMCA. We don't have anything like San Marcos. So outside people come in, like Neighborhood Sports does everything at Barton. I don't care where those kids play. I want them to play. So, yes, I've got teacher of the year. Just. We'll take a picture. Find something. No, okay. Just kidding. I did, no, not kidding about teacher of the year. Anyway. So anyway, but I think that right now the timing of everything is just so, everybody wants to do it at once. And now we have I-9 coming in, which like Neighborhood Sports, I partner with them because number one, they give back to our community. So if there's a kid who can't afford it, he slides them in there for me.
Is that what I-9 is?
I-9 is a profit organization. So they do it a little bit different. So Neighborhood Sports is community ran. So parents come in and coach their kids and whatever. And the cost is, I mean, I don't know. I never really have to pay, but I mean, I don't think it's expensive for the time they get to play, and they can practice one night a week, 2 nights a week. And I-9 is, they come in 30 minutes before their game. That's when they practice and then they
But
play.
that's just it, right? So we have 60 kids who are signed up in our league, but because they're playing in other leagues like I-9, we might not have enough for our league to make.
That's right.
So unless we get with them and tell them like, hey, can you take our kids, but they're already going. Then
We just gotta do a better, I think that with the partnership, I think we'll do a better job of just reaching, and where it says City of Kyle and Neighborhood Sports are, so people see that it's our city. So then when we do get our recreation center, we go, hey, okay, now we're gonna take those kids, you've been in our program, whether it's city ran or not, right? You've been a part of City of Kyle playing, and now we have a recreation center, so now let's play in our recreation.
But then
center.
right now, we don't have a city limits that we can play in, like we're having to play in the ETJ now. So.
And
It
every school.
still feels like city limits, but it's not, like, on paper. Right. Any other feedback? I mean, I know we've gone over this over the last couple of meetings, and you guys have been shooting things out, so it's kind of a accumulation of everything you guys have already said. But if there's anything else or any other feedback like that.
I think we partner him with Brooke, just to get some feedback and, and talk to Brooke about programs that I think that she's trying to start, she works pretty diligently. And
She's back now from maternity leave, and that's her only job now, so
Sure,
she's,
youth tennis.
yeah.
That's one of the ones.
Well, like I said, that right there is gonna make you money because you have a concession stand right there. You also have where they can go right there to Chick-fil-A and all that to go eat after their games.
You talking about the sportsplex?
No, just Greg Clark Park, just
Greg
utilizing it. I think it's really underutilized. You drive by
That's so
it.
interesting. I'm glad you said that, because it's really, that's a good, I mean, it's a good that you bring that up, because I think I know, like, it is overutilized, like, we're, like, Ash Pavilion is maxed out, the ball fields, we can't, like, we have waiting lists when, but I see what you're saying, like, that's good feedback, like,
Or start using that soccer field there.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, but the concession stand isn't used as a concession stand, it's used
Yeah,
as
it's
storage,
used as something,
yeah.
but the city of Kyle can make money when sports is going on right there. Like, hey, the concession stand's open, it's down, that, I mean, I don't know if y'all been to 5 Mile Down, that's the soccer field. If you're playing on that end, at the very corner on that soccer field, you still gotta walk your happy self way to the concession stand on the other side.
Yeah.
That concession stand's in the middle basically of everything, so it's not far from.
And so the concession stand, that's Field 5, which is our busiest field at Greg Clark, like, that's used for storage for Kyle hockey. And then the concession stand that's by the sportsplex, the fourplex at Greg Clark Park, that's used as storage for rec. So I get what you're saying, I hear you. I think it would be great if we could maybe further discuss just the athletic portion.
How do y'all interact with all the youth sports clubs? You just mentioned a bunch of them. How does that work?
So really, we only interact with two. We interact with the Kyle Hockey at Ash Pavilion, and then Lone Star Soccer for the soccer field at Greg Clark Park. Was the only existing contract. Other than that, the youth soccer groups or football groups even, they can request to rent our parks to have practices, but that doesn't really happen. A lot of them just go out there and use the parks. Folks aren't really renting Steeplechase Park, and they'll go out there and use them for practice or for clinics. But there's kind of like a first come, first serve. So when we hear, like, I know a lot of times we hear, well, there's a lot of sports organizations in Kyle, they're using the parks, and they are, but it's more, they're not doing it like formally, they're just using it as a first come, first serve.
Is that little field that's right next to the post office, that's y'all's, right? Or that's ours?
Yeah, that's Greg Park. And even now, La Verde Park, that big green grassy area, like, that's become the practice place for everyone. They're out there playing flag football or soccer. And then the big open space behind the La Verde Park stage that looks like just open land, they're using that for softball practice now too.
Really?
Is it a problem?
Yeah, preaching to the choir here.
It's, that person, I think hard yet. I hear you, but I would love to just engage more on the athletic part out there for expect for sure. So if y'all have any additional feedback, shoot it our way, shoot it my way. But I'm making revisions again tomorrow and sending it to Jerry.
But this is just beginning too, because Mariana's been coming back to you with maintenance standards for our parks and our trails and everything, and master plans for each of the parks. So you guys are gonna have a lot of work to do this year.
I do have one question. So the purple outline, that's the trail, right? The purple, calling it, the bike trail.
Those are like neighborhoods.
Is it subdivisions?
The purple line?
If they're residential
Like they're-
subdivisions.
They're.
Yeah, those are neighborhoods,
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
can see my.
like see my house.
Yeah.
But going backwards, there's a trail map.
Okay. So we are able to cross 35? Like through connecting points?
So the overall plan is to go under 35
At where?
at the triangle, at the Burleson Triangle. So you know where the construction works where they raise the highway through there.
Where the RV Super Center used to be. There'll be, by the time we're done, there'll be a number of places where you cross the highway.
The little, where's the little road? You know, where they would always flood?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, I didn't know that. That's awesome. Oh, yeah, so they have that new little. All right. Inch and lattice. You gotta do your trail and do an inch and lattice.
Yeah, you'll be a little bit, so.
Sit now.
Jalapenos.
Yeah.
Make that
Oh, there's always, oh.
Oh, my God.
All the roads that are on our road bond project, all include sidewalks and bike trails.
That's all we have. Then please send any more feedback, just pops up in your head, shoot it my way.
Oh, so I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. All in favor? Oh, wait, we need to plan our next meeting. Sorry, guys.
Your next meeting is the last Monday of the month. February 26th at 7 p.m.
Would you, would any, would you motion to move that meeting to 6? Anybody?
Oh,
like-
that's right, you guys did discuss moving meetings to 6 p.m.
All in favor? Or second, sorry, somebody. Can I get a second? All in favor? Anyone opposed?
And then motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn,
I had a second by board member Ernest.
all in favor? Meeting, anyone opposed? Meeting adjourned.
So going forward, you're gonna start at 6.